Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, everyone at the bar, hello, welcome along to Cherry Red Record Stadium here at Plough Lane. Great to welcome everyone to our, it was kind of Meet the Manager, it's now Meet Johnny and Craig. So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing your first team manager, Johnny Jackson, and your head of football operations, Craig Cope. Now, before we get started, I did some delving into the world of AI today, and a bit of software called ChatGPT. Have you ever heard of it? Yes. Yeah? Have you ever put Craig Cope into ChatGPT? Johnny, you ever been in ChatGPT?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Well, you're going to like this. What's that? What are you looking for? Your photo? It's here.
Waiting for what you're going to...
It's on my phone. Oh, no. Here we go.
No chance of turning my head around.
I went into ChatGPT and I asked, who is Johnny Jackson? Johnny Jackson, often referred to as the world's strongest bodybuilder, is a prominent figure in the bodybuilding and powerlifting communities. He earned his IFBB Pro League status by winning the NPC Nationals in 2001. In addition to his bodybuilding success, Jackson is known for his extraordinary strength. He set impressive records in powerlifting, including a deadlift of 814 pounds and a bench press of 523 pounds. Round of applause to Johnny. This is a classic, though. This is a classic. I then went on and I said, just to research, because this is what you've got to do in my game. You've got to research people, you've got to show you put in the work. Who is Craig Cope? Craig Cope was an 80-year-old liquor store owner in Norco, California, who gained widespread recognition after thwarting an armed robbery at his store. On July 31st, 2022, Cope confronted a masked robber armed with a rifle by firing a shotgun, forcing the robber to flee while screaming that he'd been shot. The incident was captured on surveillance video and went viral, making Cope a local hero. I think it is fair. You are a bit of a local hero. Copey, how's your summer been? Busy?
Yeah, well, after I shot the robber, tried to sign some players. No, it's been a good summer. It's been a long summer. Obviously, it was April we finished the season, and then people forget, like, the Euros is the first one in the summer since 2021 because the World Cup was obviously in the winter, so that generally makes a window slower. So yeah, it's been a busy but long summer.
Is it difficult doing your job sometimes? Because I know for me, I sit there and I'm refreshing social media. I'm looking through BBC Sport. Have we signed anyone? Has anyone left? Where's the release list? Where's this? Where's that? It's all in your hands, effectively. You know what's going on. And for you, sometimes it must be not frustrating, but you must be like, guys, there's a plan. Don't worry. I know what I'm doing.
Not really with anyone here or anyone associated with Wimbledon as such. It's more my dad. I'll get a text off so my brother's had a baby, who's wonderful and who's amazing, and my brother will put a photo in the family group chat saying, baby's doing well, and my dad will go, are you signing so-and-so? Let's ignore my brother. So that's what I've had most of this summer.
How pleased are you with the business you've been able to do?
Very pleased, if I'm being honest. I did say in the interview I did with Thorpe pre-summer that this is going to be a very different window to last summer. Last summer was more of a rebuild. This was more of us trying to get the finishing touches on it, and we've had to be patient just because of where we are and what the challenges we have and we face. So I think us being patient has meant we've got some real quality players in the building.
Brilliant stuff. Boss, considering you've done so well with the powerlifting, you are looking very well. Very, very well. How's your summer been?
Yeah, between bench pressing, I managed to get a couple of holidays in with a family, which is nice. Obviously, have that bit of downtime, but pretty soon after that Walsall night here, we was back to work, obviously talking constantly on the phone, trying to set up meetings with players, agents, stuff like that, just to get things moving. And it was slow. It was really slow to start with, and it was important that we stay patient and didn't panic and stuff like that, because we knew that things would start developing. I think that, like Craig said, the Euros played a big part in that, in slowing all the markets down, really. So for the first few weeks, nothing much was happening really, and I almost could switch off. But then got back from the holidays, and it all started to go into full force.
Have you had time to reflect on last season, the highs, the lows, the minutiae of it? Have you had time to think and sit back and look at it?
Yeah, well, we done a debrief as a staff and as a football club with the chairman, and spoke about what went well, what we felt didn't, highlighted areas we think that we could improve, and then got straight back to work. It was important that we almost put that to bed, and had a clear focus about where we wanted to take this summer and the recruitment and the drive towards this season. So we done that pretty quickly after the season finished, reflected. There was lots to like, and some things that not so much to like that we took the learning from, and we're going to try and take that forward into this season.
I mean, when you look at it and your tenure at this football club going into your third season, the first season was hugely disappointing, but it was a marked improvement last year. We were chasing, we were part of that pack. Are you disappointed?
With what?
With how it finished naturally?
Well, yeah, obviously we wanted to finish in the playoff positions to give us a chance to get promoted, but I have to look at the development of the football club over the last 2-3 seasons and how we've come on leaps and bounds. That's not just only the improvement on the football pitch last season, but everything that we're doing as a football club, behind the scenes, the structure that we're putting in place with myself, Craig, and the support that we've been given by the board, the infrastructure at the training ground. I mean, you've been down there, AP, like the improvements that we've made there. So it's not just any one thing. We have to constantly strive to take the club forward. We took the team forward last season, yeah, and of course I was disappointed we didn't get in the playoff positions to give us a chance. But also was proud of the strides that we'd made, and I think that puts us in a good position. And listen, if you was here, you hosted it, but the last game of the season here, there weren't a huge load of disappointment in the room. There was a lot of pride about how the season had finished, a lot of optimism and positivity about what would come next. So, we went away from here feeling really good about what had gone on, but also really optimistic about what could happen in the future.
Question to both of you, and I'll let Kobe answer it first. In terms of when you are looking back at a campaign, when you're examining, the ins and outs of it, I'd imagine the way you review is different, because for you, Kobe, it's more of a bird's eye view. You're looking at it from top down, the entire structure, the organisation. But for Johnny, you are there day in, day out, week in, week out on the training pitch. Come snow, whatever, or shine, you know what's going on. But Craig, how's it for you looking back at it?
See, obviously, when I review things, it's numbers based, objective. Even now I speak when we're in meetings, I try and be as objective as possible. The way I look back at the season is one of success. Yes, we want to be in the playoffs, but it's the first time the club's overshot a budget in however many years, and we've finished top half of the table. So loads of positives. From me, I just don't look at the on-field performance solely, because obviously that's a lot of that's Johnny's job. I look at making sure the medical department's right, so the players are fit, so Johnny can have the players available to pick. Sports science, analysis, recruitment, everything like that. So I'd try and take that overall approach on the backroom, everything, supporting what these guys are doing, pitches, everything.
What's your conflict style? Are you like a married couple?
I don't think we've even had a row yet, have we? Do you want one? Do you fancy one?
Just have one right there.
I can bench.
I've got a shotgun.
I can bench 500 kilograms. To be honest, we get on great. I think listen, when we first sat down, when Craig came into the club, it was obvious that we had both shared a real clear vision about where we wanted to take this. And of course, you have to mould yourselves towards how each other work. It can't be, this is a partnership, so it can't be all my way and all his way. That we have to find a way of working together. But that's been really natural. I think we see the game in similar ways. We see the way that we want to take the club forward and build the squad and the future of this. And that goes for all my staff. It's a real team effort. It's a clear vision about what we want to do, and we know like he can't do his job if I'm not pulling in the right direction, like what we spoke about earlier. And of course he can't if I'm not helping him too. And the staff obviously have to be on board with that. But I've got to say it works really well. We have uncomfortable conversations. We don't always agree, but that's the way that has to be. Because if it was always just nodding along and agreeing, then obviously, as Terry at the back of the room said, if we're always thinking the same thing, then someone's not thinking. So it's important that we have that open dialogue, but then we have to come up with a clear strategy and go forward with it.
He is the brains of the operation,
yeah.
Terence.
All right, Tel.
Tel, where are you? Give us a wave. There he is, right at the back. Nice one, Terry. Talk to us about departures, Craig, because we thank Ronan Curtis for his efforts for being the slayer. St. Ronan's Day will always be a date in my diary, and it's always going to be something which I celebrate. But one departure I want to talk about is Jack Curry, Wimbledon's favourite son. Just a lovely boy, isn't he? I mean, I've never met a player who takes his homework with him on away games. You see all the other players, laptops, cards. Jack, what you got there? That's my homework. Mad. I mean, he genuinely was just such a perfect example of what a Wimbledon Academy graduate should be and what a Wimbledon footballer should be.
Yeah, I think departures are natural in football. Obviously, every summer, most Januaries, you get an opportunity to offload players you don't want, try and keep players you do want, you lose them. It is an absolute merry-go-round. So that's been the same this summer. We've lost players that we wanted to move on from, or we felt we could move on from. We've lost players that we didn't want to lose, and I think that's quite obvious. And Jack was one of those we didn't want to lose, but we know what we are as a football club. We know we take great pride in kicking these players on and going to play in championship level football. And as you said there, the character of the person and his family and what he's given to this football club over the last, since he's been here since he's 12, I think. So I'm really pleased to go and see him play championship football next year, and I hope he does really, really well. But like with the Ali one, the Ayoub one, the Radoni one, everything else, we have to move on. So my job is to help look past when they go, because him going now, as great as it is for him, isn't going to help us in the next year, 18 months.
Simba said it in The Lion King. It's a circle of life.
Favourite film.
Love it, love it. Who's the next one off the production line for you? Is this Morgan Williams' season to shine?
It's a great opportunity for him, yeah. We got high hopes for Morgan. We're really happy with all the young pros that we've signed. They've all come back, had good pre-seasons. There's a lot of competition for places. So Morgan's in a position of the pitch where he's got fierce competition, and it's up to him, obviously, when he gets those opportunities, which he will, to make himself, undroppable, really. And that's the message that I give to them all. So yeah, high hopes for Morgan, the three young pros, young Aaron Sassu, who excites me every day when I see him train, and I think he's got a big future for the football club. So. We constantly produce players as a club, don't we? Through the academy, we give them opportunities and a clear pathway to get into the first team if they're good enough, and if they are, they play. And it doesn't matter how hard. I've shown that. I think we gave a 15-year-old his debut last year. So was he 15, 16? Young boy. 16 now. I think he was 15 at the time. So. It's a great football club for young players to flourish, to get opportunities to come through the academy system, the pathway, knowing at the end of that, if you make the required steps, you will get a chance in the first team. And then Craig just mentioned a few, but the guys that have got into the team, done brilliant, and then moved on to other things is just, it's a constant theme. So it's great for young players to see that. And know that then them opportunities are there for them.
Two more from me before we open up the floor. Firstly, Craig, barring the obvious of wanting to improve the squad and improve on our finish, what was sort of the modus operandi in terms of our recruitment this summer? What calibre of player were you looking for? What cut of player were you looking for?
Well, as I've said to the many recruitments we've had and recruitment meetings, that we've had and discussions I had with a couple of fans, my vision, if you like, is to try and build a squad of 22 players that if one person gets injured, we don't face as big a drop-off as we've had previously. So I think you can see the way the squad's been built from season 1 to season 2. Season 3 for Johnny, you can see that you can start to see a pattern. We built a base last year, trying to fluff that base up this year so we can get a good solid League 2 squad that can compete at the right end of the table. So without going to individuals and being boring, I like a good healthy squad, and that's what we've tried to build.
And finally from me, before we open up the floor, Johnny, what they like, what the group been like? What was the trip to Benidorm like? How have they been in training? What are the personalities like? Because this group, the group we had last year were really fantastic. They were personable in here after the games. They're a really likeable bunch of people. What's this group all about?
Great lads to start with. A really good bunch of honest, hard-working boys that want to do well for the football club. We had a great trip away to Spain. It was class the night that we had out there with the supporters. The boys got up, done their songs and showed a bit of character. It's a different type of group. It's probably not as loud and as vocal, but I think there's loads to work with, and I think as a staff we can coax more out of them. It's probably slightly younger on the whole. But we're really happy with where it's at, and the recruitment so far has been excellent. I always speak about, we want good players, talented players, but we also want lads that are good lads and they know what it's about playing for this football club, and they want to work hard and run, block, tackle, and all the non-negotiables basically that we insist on, and we feel like we've recruited really well towards that.
Fantastic. Okay, it's time to open up the floor. I got told his name is Big Cam. Big Cam is going to be rolling around with the mic. There he is in his white T-shirt. Do you want to just put your hand up, Cam? Let anyone? Don't be shy. I know people want to ask questions. It's what you're here for. Anyone? Oh, there you go, Cam. Yeah, first question over there. Sorry, we can't really see much up here as well.
Hi, it's Mags. This is for Craig. I'd like to understand a bit more about EPPP, I think you said it is, in terms of movement of our young players and compensation. And also with Rodoni, Spike Brits I'm thinking of, and Rodoni, but does Rodoni class under that, or is that different? And what are future payments like, and how long do they go on for?
Exact numbers, please.
Okay, Mags, I think that's a really, really good question to start with. Something I've had a question like that before. So basically, the EPPP regulations are in place around transfers and compensation to protect clubs lower down. In their words, I don't want to be too controversial with the camera pointed in my face, but there's a reason why it's called the Premier League EPPP. But no, look, it's there to try and protect football clubs. So the Spike Brits and Rodoni transfers were two different things. Spike, because of his age and his category within the academy, was classed as compensation. Rodoni was a transfer. Obviously, he was contracted to us, and although he was under the age of 24, he was contracted to us, and we sold him during the length of his contract. For Rodoni to be compensation, he would have had to have been out of contract, under 24, we offer him a contract, and he moves to another club anyway. That's when you go to compensation and go to tribunal, and I have to go and sit in the FA's office and fight for the club. Thankfully, I've not done that yet. The Spike one was very much like a transfer, even though it's called compensation just because of his age. So there's no real boundaries or guidelines to go. He's 15, he's played here, Wimbledon and he's been at Wimbledon for X amount, Wimbledon at due, X amount. It's a negotiation still. So as you brought up earlier, we had a few clubs interested in him, which means we could hike the price up. That's always what we want, obviously. And then in terms of how long do we get paid for, so just like the Radoni deal, we get paid for how long we've negotiated for. Now, I wasn't involved when Radoni got sold, but that deal was really, really good for us, and we're going to get paid until the clauses we put in those contracts run out. With Spike, it will be a little bit longer just because of his age, where he is, hadn't made a first-team appearance. So there's loads and loads of little clauses around him playing for Man City, him going out on loan and playing for someone else. The ideal, as I said at the time, is him coming to play for us in a few years and we're getting paid for him to be here. But there's loads of little ones like that the academy and the board and the chairman and people who dealt with the negotiations prior to me coming in have done some really, really good deals around compensation in the Triple P. So there's loads of little ones out there. Does that answer your question? Thanks, Mags.
Okay, next question. Can you see anything? Go on, Cam, it's on you, mate.
Hello, it's John here. Oh, sorry. Quick question. Our player budget last season got us to position 10, which was quite good. This year, our player budget, has it gone up or down?
The player budget for this season compared to last year initially stayed the same. We had a good conversation about it, and we know where the numbers are. We know where we are as a football club. With the transfer income we have had an incremental rise in the budget. I know the next question is going to be where are we in the league table. We won't know that until October.
Okay, next question.
Oh yeah. With the formation we've been playing in pre-season, when did you commit to this? And were players brought on the formation or vice versa?
Is that for Johnny?
Both.
It's just down there, right down.
All right. A bit of both, to be honest. When we was recruiting during the summer, we wanted to be versatile in what we're going to do this season. So I think if you look back at last season, majority of the season we played with a back four, but certainly after Christmas we utilised a back five at times. We played a midfield diamond. We played 3-5-2. We played 3-4-3. I think we ended up playing about 5 different formations, which I think you have to be willing to do and be adaptable. So you don't want to get pigeonholed into any one thing. And we try to recruit around that so that we've got versatility in what we're doing. We also feel like we've got specialist players in specialist positions. Probably the obvious example of that is we've now got 4 really good strikers. We feel at the level really, really good, strong strikers. So you obviously get thinking about that. If I've got 4 and I'm only playing 1 in a 4-3-3, for example, then 3 of them are left on the bench and probably scratching their head and knocking on my door on a Monday. So the obvious thing would be to play 2 of them, at least 2 of them together, which is something we've been looking at in pre-season. One of the other things that was a factor in it, especially early on, is that we didn't have a natural left back in the squad. Obviously, with Lee Brown retiring and Jack Curry moving on, it meant that we had to look at other ways of doing it. But we really liked what we'd seen early doors, especially from people in the wing-back positions. We felt that we had the people that could do that role, the people that could play in a back 3, play in a midfield 3, and obviously the strikers. So if you want to play 2 strikers, you are limited in ways of doing it. 4-4-2, 4 midfield diamond 2, or a variation of 3-5-2. So these are all factors that have been involved, and that's the way. You're going to go in? Yeah, no, I was just going to say, from my point of view, I don't think
I get too het up on what formation we're playing. We need to be versatile. Johnny's hit the nail on the head. We know how we play. We know what attributes we look for. So when we're recruiting, we recruit attributes that are going to try and fit into what our team do. Now, our team can play a very similar way, but deploy a different formation, how to beat an opposition or something like that. So that's just what I was going to say there.
Yeah, and I think that hopefully that's answered your question. There was various factors involved in the way that we are playing now. That's not to say that if they're watching that we're going to play that way on Saturday or Tuesday or the Saturday after that. But we have to be flexible in what we're doing. But we feel that there's a lot to like about that and a lot to like about that system with the personnel that we have got in the building at the minute.
Okay, Cam, there's a question, one at the front and one at the back. So we'll come to the back in a bit. Don't forget that one at the back.
Cheers. One of our players last year gave us the highlight of probably a decade, that last minute winner against Coventry, Ryan McLean. I just wanted to say it's great that the clubs continue to invest in him despite his injury. Can you tell us a little about an update and how he's doing, and also that philosophy of a young player just got his first professional contract and he's run amok. So tell us a bit about that, please, and why we continue to lean into that.
Yeah, I mean, a really, really interesting season for Ryan, and that's probably the wrong word to use. You know, obviously he come in having never had a taste of full-time football. Is that right, Craig? Never played full-time football, and took a lot of adjusting for him. First of all, difficult moving down from when he moved for and being thrust into this is now your job. You're a professional footballer, you know. That's your full focus. But he had some unbelievable moments really early on in the season, and now more so than that Coventry moment. And he was excellent that night, and obviously got us through to, you know, for the prize after that was going to Stamford Bridge. So, you know, a lot to be thankful for Ryan early part of that season. And then things changed a little bit with him. He found his opportunities a little bit more limited. He went on loan, and again got some opportunities and was sort of in and out, and decided that we wanted to bring him back to us. And again, found it difficult. The team was in a really good groove at that stage, and didn't get much game time, and he started to get a little bit frustrated with that, and wanted more opportunities. And it was pretty much on the back of one of those conversations that we sort of looked at it and felt like that he did deserve another opportunity, and he started to make improvements in training, and he got himself a start at Tranmere. And then what happened that day was tragic, really, because the boy had waited a long time for another opportunity, and obviously he got a really, really bad injury, and we was all gutted for him. We really was. It was a tough day for everyone, none more so than him. But that is part of football. That's something that he's had to deal with. He found it tough to begin with, but he's really knuckling down now with his rehabilitation. He obviously had surgery shortly after. I think three or 4 weeks after the injury. You have to wait a little while. Then he had his surgery. Now he's back every day. He's back in with us, obviously doing his gym work, rehab, building that up. He hasn't had a holiday yet. The lad ain't even had an opportunity to get away, so we will give him some time. I think that's important. Once he gets to a certain stage in his rehab, we can send him away knowing that we can probably set a plan for him for 7 days, just so he gets a little break from it. And then when he gets back from that, he'll start back outside with the physios, building up his running, and then go from there. Small steps, really, but it was a bad injury that he got. But obviously, we'll support him as a football club, as a staff, give him everything that he needs to get him back playing. And hopefully, I don't know the exact time frame of it, but we're hoping sort of before the turn of the year that he can be back with us. And obviously, he deserves another opportunity, and as a football club, we'll absolutely give him that.
Okay, there's a question right back corner down there. Oh, sorry. Okay, we'll be there.
Evening, fellas. Could you talk a bit about James Tilley, who clearly started last season absolutely on fire for perhaps the first 12 games, and then it maybe didn't continue? how you responded to that and what you hope for this season.
Yeah, well, obviously, the way that Tills started the season was incredible. The numbers that he was hitting, the goals he was scoring, I think he was in an unbelievably red-hot vein of form that he's never been in his career. Not many wingers, produce those sort of numbers. And I think it was natural that there would be a drop-off. I think it was unsustainable. Or if it was sustainable, I don't think he'd have been staying with us, So it's good that he dropped off a little bit, but maybe not as much as he did, but that he dropped off a little bit because that allowed us to keep him. Because I think if he'd have carried on and had 20 plus goals before Christmas, then probably someone's showing a big interest. So he found it more difficult after he had a few niggly injuries, which halted his progress. I think the way that the team played after Christmas, when personnel changed, maybe affected his game and the style that he was playing. We obviously changed formation a couple of times, which wasn't necessary to his strengths, but obviously as an individual player as well, you have to look at what you're doing. And I think Tills, if he was up here now, he would admit that his levels certainly dipped, but that was probably naturally so. But Tills is a talented boy. The season ending probably come at a good time for him. He's gone away, he's had a good break, he's come back. He looks sharp, he looks fit. He's got real competition for his spot in the team. And he needs to show that level of performance. And if he does, you're going to play him, aren't you? Because what he was producing at the start of the season, obviously he never quite got back to that level back end of the season. But we know that talent's there. And that's why we brought him in. But probably what happened in the second half of the season is the reason that he is still at this level. And if he does want to kick on, which I know that he does, hopefully that's with us. But these boys should have aspirations to play at the very top. Then he needs to, and they all need to maintain them levels throughout a 46-game season and not just a small snippet. So, but Tilly, yeah, very much part of our plans. Talented boy, gives us something different to what others can't in the squad, and it's important that we have a real balance of players.
Okay, Cam, question at the back, please. Gentleman right at the back.
Hi there. Sorry, hello. My name's Lee. Thanks for the chance to do this. Really grateful. And Johnny and Craig, thanks for everything that you do for this football club and for us as supporters. Lots of questions spring to mind, but I'll try and stick to one. But on a comment, if I may, just on the Tilly thing. I always wondered, looking at Tilly in the first few games of the season, if he played really, really well because he had Ali inside him, and Ali's movement gave him so much more room to exploit and stuff. Anyway, just a theory. On the question, there were 3 players that decided not to join us at the start of the summer, despite the fact that we offered them contracts. And I'm glad they went somewhere else, frankly, because they went for big moves and all went to League 2 clubs. So good luck to them. But that left me with a question in my head of, they obviously went somewhere for loads of money. So we know that we haven't got that. So how do we sell ourselves? What does it mean to play for Wimbledon? I know what I would say, but I'm a fan. But you guys are at the sharp end of trying to recruit players and get good players to come here and play for us. So what does it mean to play for Wimbledon? I'd welcome your thoughts on that.
I don't know who you're talking about, Lee. No, look, I'm not going to sit here and fluff anything up to you guys. I think when we talk, we try and be honest with you. It's a really interesting point you raise, and it's something we were sat talking to a player who actually didn't end up joining because he got injured, about coming on loan. And we said it's really funny actually, because the loan players we bring in either do really well and go back to their clubs, play, or get an unbelievable move, or go into League 2 and get absolutely weighed in. So either way, you're going to be playing and earn a hell of a lot of money or play higher up. Our sales pitch is, we're an unbelievable development opportunity for you. We took a lot of players that hadn't played consecutively or consistently previously that came in, we gave game time to because of the style of play, because of the way these guys coach, because of what the club is, and they fitted into what we do. That's our pitch. Come here, fit into what we do, come and kickstart your career again. That is with a lot of players we get, and a lot of players have come at that. In terms of selling the story and the club and everything like that, it doesn't need too much doing because you know the player you're talking to. It's when they're here. I know we've got a couple of bad examples, and they are bad examples, what you've just said there. But this place really grips the lads. I mean, this room was full of players and staff 3-4 hours ago when we fully inducted the players. We've done it twice in 2 years now, haven't we? It's the only time we've ever done it. And the players have all left, the new players go in. No other club does that. No other club sits here and listens to both boards, listens to DLAG, the foundation. Wowzer made the debut appearance. Kerry was very good. And Wish. So we have all that in place. So we really sell that to the players when they're in the building. I'm going to be completely honest with you, most lads are professionals now. When we talk to agents and players, it is all about what we can offer them and what they can offer us on a professional level.
Yeah, I'll just elaborate a little bit. Obviously, me and Craig, we try and hit it from different angles as well. Obviously, Craig deals with the agents, talks about the numbers and the figures, and we have to be open and frank about that. Is that the first question an agent or a player will ask is how much, right? Then it's how long for. So they want to know how much they're going to earn and how long they're going to earn it for. And we do lose players because of that, and we accept that, we understand that. But there are times when you're competing with clubs that are in and around the offers that we're making, and then the things that we can offer as a coaching staff. So I will always talk to the player about the football side of things, the platform that this club will give players, examples of that, of which there's numerous examples of lads that I've helped in my coaching career, my managing career, going back, obviously even before I come here, as a carrot for them to come and play with us, and taking the lads out there, standing them on the pitch, making them look around and see what we've got here. And this ain't your run of the mill League Two football stadium, is it? And I think probably a good example of that is the Ali one. He had a very, very similar offer from another club in the league with a manager that he knew really well from previous. But we obviously sold him the football side of things. He was happy with financially, and we took the boy out there, and you could just see that he was looking around thinking, I wouldn't mind playing my football here. And I genuinely think that was a big factor in getting that one over the line. And obviously the rest is history with that one. And that's probably an outlier. More often than not, it comes down to how much they're going to earn. But there are times when players want a little bit more, and it's not just about the number and how long. And I think that's a good example of that one.
Oh, and I'll try. I think we have a cut-off point as well, flipping it. We get a good gauge, don't we, when we know a player's not going to fit in or work here, and they're trying to get X amount out of us. Now we have a cut-off point. We're not rollovers.
Well, yeah, the minute it starts becoming they're trying to nick a little bit more, then I get to the point where I ring them and go, well, do they even want to play for us? Like, we have to be sure of that they're not just coming just for a figure, that they want to be a part of what we're doing, because that's a big part of what we speak about with recruitment as well. So they have to, there's a lot of value for a player that's really enthusiastic and desperate to come and play for us.
Can you not open your bottle of water?
No.
Do you want to give this to Craig? Bless him. Give us that one back. I'll work on this one.
I think I've loosened that.
I speak to a lot of managers. No comment. I speak to a lot of managers in the Football League every week, and a lot of them have, I don't know what the policy on swearing is. Let's call it a no something heads policy. Do you operate that policy?
We try, and we do our homework. You do your digging, and you ring people, you get references, you ask around, you obviously sit in front of the player, hopefully in person. Sometimes it has to be on a Zoom, and you think that you get a really good feel. And generally you do. I think I'm a good judge. I think Craig is the staff. Then when we sit in front of a player, and once we're off the call or they leave, we normally either start slagging them off or together, or we go, or we liked him together. So we generally get a good feel. If we don't, we won't do it. Every now and again, a bad one sits through the net because they're really good actors and they put on a good impression, and that's part of football. But amongst a squad, you can carry maybe one or two of those. But generally speaking, that's a big part of our recruitment drive, is to make sure that they're not a dickhead.
Fair enough. Next question from the floor. Oh, go on. Cam's on it.
Hi, it's Gary here. So again, thanks for putting this up. Just a follow-up question on Ryan McLean, talking about the medical team. Apart from Dave Reddington, got his name right, is there any kind of changes in backroom staff in terms of personnel or kind of methods or techniques that's going on that you can tell us about?
Not in terms of techniques or anything like that. We have had a change in the medical department because the number 2 to Bobby Bacic, who's done a really good job, wanted to go travelling. I'd rather sit and travel around League 2 for a year than go to Thailand, but that's his choice. So just that enforced change, really. Josh was really good with Bobby last year, really good with the players, and he leaves our best wishes, but we've just brought a guy called Jules Hobbs in to fill that. And we've extended the contract of the third physio, if you like, Joe Sundberg, who does an unbelievable job. We have a great relationship with a couple of local universities that we take students from, so there's a lot of manpower in there, and obviously Bobby oversees it all, so that's the only change in the backroom staff, bar Dave, I think, this summer. Yeah.
Cam's got the mic, he's on the move again.
Oh, I'll stand up this time. Jules, just want to give a shout out to Mark Jones. We're just the best looking football club with our strips and all that stuff. So he does a great job, so thank you. Wearing some of the new stuff today. Just could you tell us a little about the relationship you have with him, working with him, and how we show up and how the players feel? Do they enjoy being kitted out the way they do?
Well, Jonesy would be a better place to answer that, but I can only speak from my point of view. Like, I've got to know Mark really well since I come to the football club. He's took me to a few banging gigs, ain't you, Jonesy? Jamie T springs to mind as one who's a Wimbledon fan. Actually, what kit did he have on, Jonesy, that night? Yeah, so he had a vintage Wimbledon top on that night when he was playing. So that was topical. But yeah, I think he's done an unbelievable job with the kits, the gear, all the training kits of top class. The shirt from last year, the Boca shirt, I've told him this. I think it's not the best Wimbledon kit. It's the best kit I've ever seen.
You get annoyed you called it Boca. It's Palmer. Am I not right, Joe? Thank you.
Sorry.
Palmer, innit? Yeah.
Sorry, Mark. Where's all these Bocas come from?
I thought it was a tin on your office. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know the work that goes into that as well. It's not a fluke that he just keeps producing these brilliantly designed kits. I know how much thought goes into it, how much care, because it's the history of the football club, and well, better placed than anyone to talk about the history of the football club and tie that into the aesthetic of what we look like. It's really good, and I think the lads appreciate that. There is something to be said that I think if you look good and you feel good, I think you're going to play better. So long may that continue. Well done, Mark Jones.
Okay. I've lost Cam. Where is Cam? Look, there's questions there, mate.
Hiya. This one's for Johnny. As a club, actually, sorry, to be honest, it's for both of you, Johnny and Craig. You right? You can see me?
Down the back. Do you want to stand up?
Hiya. Sorry, sure. As a club, we've always based our philosophy around loyalty and a close-knit squad. I know we touched on it earlier, but loan players, over the last 2 seasons, we've had more than 20 players leave. Some of our own players that have come through our club are going to be playing against us next season, and for most of them, we haven't received a transfer fee for them. I mean, Armani Little's gone to Gillingham, Chislett's gone to Port Vale, Ronan Curtis gone to Port Vale, Alex Bass has gone to Notts County, Kamini Gordon to Colchester, Lyle Taylor to Colchester, Davison to Tranmere. I know you were talking about shaking the team up a few minutes ago with another question and the player attributes that we want, but if the personnel change alters our gameplay, that's just the players, we brought them in, but they might not be able to do what we intended for them to do. And I just think not having permanence in players is kind of dangerous. We've only got 2 goalkeepers, and they're both on loan. I mean, what if one of them gets injured? We've only got 2 goalkeepers. Sorry, just to cut a long story short. We've got an amazing story, but why are we signing so many players on loan as opposed to taking a more sort of long-term action and getting players to properly commit?
That is a really, really good question. I think I'm glad you brought it up because we can speak open and honestly here. Where our budget is, we need to take loan players. We talked about last season, talked about goalkeepers, so one's a loan, the other one isn't. Wardy's permanent. The Alex Bass deal last year, there's not a cat and owl's chance we could have afforded him if we didn't take him on loan. We have to take loan players. It's as simple as that. Most clubs do it. We just got to try and get the best ones. We try and mitigate players leaving in January as best we can. We've done 2 loan deals this season that don't have recalls in them. So we've got them for the season, and that's either going to be really good because we're keeping our best players with us, or they don't do too well, it's going to be really bad. It's a double-edged sword. But with what's happened with us previously and where we think we're going to go, we've opted to put the no recalls in and fought for that. Ideally, we'd like more permanence, but that's just not how we're going to spend our money wisely to maximise our performance out on the football pitch. With regards to the point about the players leaving and going on, players want to earn more money at the end of the day, or they want to progress their career and go and play at a higher level. As Lee brilliantly pointed out, if they don't want to be here, they don't want to be here for whatever reason, and we can't be hung up on that. We move on. There are hundreds of players out there. There are players that they're not specifics. What one player might do, we will find in another player, we'll find in another player. And you've got to remember about when these players are available as well. So the obvious one for me, Alistair Smith was top of our list. The January I came in, wasn't available, was top of our list last summer, wanted to go to League One, and he'd done League Two for a few years. He then goes to League One. And then we have to be patient and wait for him to come back. Now, we're really pleased with that signing, but it couldn't be a permanent. It didn't work for us to pay what Lincoln would have wanted. It didn't work for Lincoln the other way around, and obviously the player's got a say in his future as well. So we wanted the player in because we feel he suits what we're trying to do, and to make that happen, we loaned him and persuaded them finally to take the recall out because we wanted him here for the season.
Just building on what you've just talked about, and this is sort of like a side question to it. I mean, you've worked for some big football clubs. You've gone out and you've worked with bigger budgets. With this football club, because of how we are owned, because how we are governed, you need to box a bit more clever, and naturally the margin for error is minuscule. It's tiny.
Well, yes, but the job is also the same. It's just different numbers. So, like, if you go and work at a bigger football club, you're still taking players on loan, but the players from where we're taking players on loan from there and we're here, they're taking players on loan from there and they're there. So the loan system's there. We've got to try and box with it and use it as best we can. And touch wood, I think we've done that in the main since I've been here, like the Casey McAteer one, the lads we had last year. we're going okay with it. So it's just a part of the game. It is so frustrating, by the way. We get wound up on phone calls in January when the players go, and we're like, ugh. But we've got to try and mitigate that.
Okay, next question. There's one right in the middle there, Cam. Right in the middle. How are we doing with time?
Listen, I know it's a long shot, but have you got any spare tickets for Bromley away?
Cormac, how many are you after, mate? Come and see me after. Let's see if we can sort you.
Me and Pete. Pete, how many tickets do we need?
100.
100.
Don't push your luck.
How much has Pete got on him?
His mum's got his PIN number, so we'll see. Pete, have you got anything to say?
Hi, I'm Peter. I'd like to say these new characters, new players coming in, it's very interesting to find what kind of role, what they can give us this year. Because I've been a fan here for some time now, and I'm so glad I know you and Terry and Craig for many years now. So everyone in this club here, all the people I went to school at Wimbledon College, and the people from this club, it's very interesting to see more characters all around you, people like Josh, Cormac, Hannah, and everyone else. It's very incredible how things we get into, or how far we can go the next level.
Love that, Pete.
Thank you, Peter.
Or just touching on that, all I'd say about the lads that we have brought in, Aaron obviously asked me earlier on about the types of lads they are. They're all a really good group that we've got together, but what we did like about the ones that we have brought in, none of them have needed too much convincing to come here. As soon as we spoke to them, as soon as obviously the deals looked right, but the minute I got in front of any of these lads and spoke football, and spoke about Wimbledon, and spoke about Plough Lane and the ground and stuff like that, that they was all dead keen to come and be a part of what we're doing. So there's like I said, there's a lot of value in that, and these boys that we've recruited and the squad that we've got together, they really, really want to do well for this club. They want to take the club forward. They want hopefully get this club promoted, but they also want to take their careers forward, and they see it as the perfect place for them to do that, and hopefully we can do it together.
Okay, where else are we looking?
Hello, Johnny. Hello, Craig. We always say about selling the club and stuff like that, but at the bottom line, it's all about money, right? How can you sell Colchester over Wimbledon? How can you sell Burslem over Wimbledon? They're dives. So I like your honesty and stuff like that, but it is all about money, and you must throw some Fs in January, some Fs when players want to leave. But I think the fans have to realise a little bit and take a little bit of the heat off of both of the pair of you, that it is down to money, and we cannot compete with the money that other clubs are offering. It's as simple as that. We've got Wimbledon Village. Port Vale got Burslem, for God's sake, if you've ever been there. So, yeah, fans, give them a little bit of slack.
Cheers, Craig.
Craig, it's a good point. I really appreciate it. One thing I have said to a few people in the room, we can go and sign Ronan Curtis permanent. We can do that, but he'll be playing on his own. So, like I said, we're trying to build a squad here, and
he wouldn't be very good at that either, would he?
No, he would not. He would not. Thanks, Craig.
Yep.
This is a tough one following Craig. I want to talk about wing backs. And Johnny, what your team do in terms of developing our wing backs. I love to see Sass on the ball. I love to see Sass get the ball out of his feet and going forward. Same with Josh. A lot of the time we see them maybe lacking a bit of confidence or coming back and playing inside and starting again. How do we work on that in the training ground?
Well, we do exactly that. We work. I don't know if I entirely agree with that. I mean, if you came down to the training ground and watched Sasu train and watched the messages that they're given, especially in that final third, is we want them to be positive. We want them to create. What does that look like? Is that getting at someone, taking someone on? Is that getting a cross in to provide for the front man? Is that getting a shot off? But we want them boys to go and create. If they get doubled up on, which happens to Sasu all the time, because generally speaking, in the first 20 minutes of a game, he isolates his fullback and gives him a bit of the runaround and a nightmare. Of course, they then double up. Now, Sasu's learning is, does he now need to recognise that he's got two on him and he needs to come back out, and we need to work a different opening because the space will be somewhere else. Same with Josh. If Josh is in a 1v1, I would think that most of the time he's going to try and get at someone and create something, get to the byline, get a cross in. And we want, the reason that I've been playing two really attacking players in there, because if you play two fullbacks in that position, it can become defensive, but if you play two wingers, it can become the most offensive formation to play. And it's finding a balance. That, I mean, you spoke about them lacking the confidence. What I want to see from them boys, especially a younger player like Sass, is to learn the defensive side of the game. I haven't got any issues with him, the way that he attacks. He certainly doesn't lack confidence, the boy. He wants to get at people. He wants to make things happen. In that role, if he's going to play that role in this team, he needs to learn and improve the defensive side. Obviously, still needs to improve all aspects of his game, but what you need from a wing-back is a player that can cover the distance. They cover more ground than anyone on the pitch. They need to be able to attack, but they also need to recognise the times when they need to defend. And if we're going to use them two as examples, Josh probably can do that more naturally. He's older, he's played more games, he's got more experience. And Sasu's always played as a winger, so he needs to develop that side of his game. But I'm really excited by him and what he can do for this football club, whether it's playing in that position, whether it's playing as a striker in the future.
And I must compliment you on your belief that I see every week in Sass. I mean, for me, that really, really does come out, that you truly do believe in the guy and what he can do for this club.
Well, I do. I mean, I've got a history of playing young players for, since I started coaching and managing. I want to develop young talent. When I've developed some and they've gone on and I've lost them before I've wanted to, but it still gives me satisfaction when I see them playing higher, when I see lads that I've worked with playing in the Premier League. To know that you've played a small part in that is really rewarding as a coach. But I've got to say, a lot of that comes down to the lad and what he shows. If we're talking about Sass, what he shows every day in training and in the opportunities that he's had, that he's done enough to convince me or us as a staff that he should be playing or he should be competing for the shirt. So yes, we've shown that faith in him and giving him opportunities, but that, first and foremost, that comes down to the boy. If he wasn't doing that in training or showing, the level of ability or the level of willing or listening to me when I'm talking about defending, then he wouldn't play because I wouldn't trust him to. But these boys, they show enough in training and the opportunities that they gain our trust. And once they've got your trust, then there's nothing better than seeing a homegrown player walking out there for Wimbledon, for any of us.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. Question down there. There's a couple of questions down there.
Hi, it's Mags again. When Ali carried that player off the pitch who was pretending to be injured, the young lad next to me was giggling for the rest of the match. His eyes were just shining and it stopped and then he started giggling again. What have you seen, either on the training pitch or the football pitch, that still makes you laugh about it every time you think about it?
To be a revisit, that might have to be a think and revisit later on.
I can't say mine because we made a pact. I've seen a sprinkler pop up and smash the manager in the face from about 2 inches.
Nearly blinded me. In Spain, I got a sprinkler in my eye from about a metre away. There was no warning. And I looked over to the ground and he just went, sorry.
He didn't even say sorry.
Lo siento.
Oh, I just don't speak Spanish. Maybe he did, I don't know. Or maybe it was something worse than that.
Okay, is the question just in front here?
Good evening again. Tans had been with us a long time, so I was wondering what, if anything, you can tell us about why he's gone.
Okay. Well, we brought a goalkeeper in last season that got the number 1 shirt. Tans had been used to playing, and last season was a really frustrating time for him. And he obviously found his game time really limited. And I think it was important for him that. And well, I know this for a fact because we had some really good conversations, and he was keen to just move on and get a fresh start. I think I was as well, and I think what was quite important for me, especially going into my 3rd season, was to, and I don't mind saying this, was to have moved past pretty much anyone who had been involved in a relegation, because I felt there was a big fallout from that, big hangover over the whole club, and it took a while for us to sort of get over that, really. And I think Tans was one that was affected by that, certainly in the first part of the following season, and then he had a frustrating season to back that up because he didn't play. So I just felt it was time for. It'd been a good servant for the football club. There was no falling out. I've got to say, the way that he conducted himself as a number 2, even though he was frustrated, he was exemplary in the way that he trained. If Bezo was here tonight, he'd tell you that he was a credit to the football club, the way he carried himself. But it was just time for a fresh challenge for him, and for us to both move on, I felt.
Okay, a couple of questions over here. Oh, he's gone that way.
Literally ignoring you.
Literally.
Hi, it's Dan again. You've said there'll be 2 up front with 4 forwards. What do you see as the most obvious pairing from those 4?
Danny Cowley's not watching this.
Yeah, well.
Brother is.
Obviously, I don't want to talk too much about how we're going to go about things, but we've tried. I mean, the obvious one is, you look at the 2 big uns out of the 2, and 2 smaller ones that perhaps are more of the runner type. So you think big man, little man, and we have sort of done a lot of that in pre-season and tried a few different permutations, but I don't see any reason why the 2 little ones couldn't play together and the 2 big ones couldn't play together, or 2 of the big ones couldn't play at the top of as a number 10 off of 2 others. So I think the fact that we've got 4 and they all bring something slightly different just gives us a lot of variety in that. I think over the course of the season you're going to see probably every permutation and maybe some that we ain't even thought of yet amongst that. So I think they could all play with each other is the boring answer, and the one I'm going to stick with for now.
Let's go that way. There you go.
Right. Hey, Johnny. This is a similar question that I asked you last year. And I want to thank you very much for a certain match that came on at 12:30, of which you did deliver and your team did deliver a fantastic performance where we beat that certain team that we don't like to mention. Unfortunately, this year, that same fixture is coming earlier on in the season. So how confident are you that, especially with the new members of the team, they will should realise how important it is to us as fans that 12:30 fixture coming soon and not down to a TV schedule, that you can motivate the team in the same way as you did last year?
Well, I know for a fact that I can motivate the team. I know for a fact that as a group of staff, we will make them all aware of the weight of that game, what it means to the club, the history of it. I don't think you had to be a Wimbledon fan to have seen the footage. That I think the whole football world, knowing the message that I got after it, and sort of from random different people, that everyone was aware of what happened that day and the story behind it, and the new boys are well aware too. So obviously it's our job to, I'm going to sit here and you can't guarantee that the outcome's going to be the same, but what I can guarantee is that they will know the type of game that they're going into, what it means to you guys, and how important it is. That much I can guarantee. A game of football obviously is random and mad things can happen like it did that day. But what I can guarantee is the boys will be up for it and they'll know what it means.
Okay, where are we? There you go. Oh, there you go.
I was just wondering about Husbiller, as he didn't start much in the second stage of the season. So I was wondering why we renewed his contract.
Kopi?
We feel we've got two really good, promising young right backs. Huss, the first season I came in, I feel like we was all really excited about Huss. Huss played really well. Got really unfortunate with that injury away at, was it Leyton Orient? And then, for whatever reason, we couldn't quite get him back on the pitch for no fault of his own, and just the way the injury played out. And then last year they both started on an even playing field, and Oggs took the mantle, and he's just gone from strength to strength from last season. But we've got to be a club that develops players well. We can't just give up on someone because he's had a couple of minor injuries that we can try and overcome. We remember what he was like, and he still had some games last year where he performed really well. So we took the decision to offer him a new contract that protects us a little bit, but also gives him the opportunity, and just see where it goes.
Okay, there's a question.
Over here.
Go on, Cam. I think we've got time for a couple more.
Quick question. Over the last couple of years, I've noticed our style of play has got greater. The movement, the play. Considering 2 years ago, all we was doing, kicking the ball up front. I just want to ask you, Johnny, how do you feel our style of play is now? The movement, the through balls. Sometimes we're quite static on the way we play. I just want to know if we're addressing that sort of situation, and how worried are you about the last two performances going into this game on Saturday?
Oh, the sort of pre-season games?
Yeah.
Well, listen, we want to win every pre-season game, of course. We would love every performance to be brilliant, but it's just never going to be the case. A lot of it is still practice. We was a bit disappointed with it. We was disappointed with the Barnet game, but 7 days before we played League One opposition here, who I think are going to be at the top of that league, and beat them comfortably, I felt, and in a really good performance. So it's important that you don't get carried away when that happens, and carried away when that happens. We are working towards something. We want to be fluid in what we're doing. We want to be versatile. So we feel like we can mix up the way that we play. We want to have more control in games this season than we did probably at the back end of last season. So we want to try and have a bit more possession. We want to have sustained possession, but it all needs to be in the opposition's half. I've got no interest in having 50,000 passes around the back to go nowhere. I learnt pretty quickly that there's no appetite for that, and I don't want that either, because I think we found a really good way of playing, especially sort of the. Who, me?
going to be the England manager?
No, I've got a good job here, haven't I? I don't want to. What do I want that for? But we need to be able to mix it up. We've got players that we can go direct to. We've got pace out wide, but we've got players that can handle the ball as well. So we try to bring a bit of variety to the squad. So there's days where we're going to have more of the ball in games, and we need to find ways of opening teams up. And there'll be times when we're going to play against opposition that are going to have more of the ball. And I think we saw last season in certain games when we was happy not having the ball, knowing that if our shape was good and we was disciplined in that we could win the ball back in good areas, and that allowed us to attack. So we work hard on both aspects of the game, in and out of possession, but the fundamentals will never change. Our first message is always about running, blocking, tackling and fighting before we even talk about any tactics, and that will always be the case. But we need to have a variation in our play and not become just one thing, because you can become too predictable.
Okay, there was a question down here, so there you go.
Couple of questions looking at the future with the academy and the connection. So, first one, second-year scholars this year coming up. Is it a good crop? Does it compare well to other age groups that we've had recently? How good is it?
I think the academy have continued to produce these players that come in and try and affect things. Zav, you'll know, I've tried to get away from carrying too many players, if you like. I think we've had that conversation, so try and concentrate on the ones we really think are going to kick on. The 16s at the minute, they've just moved into the 18s. We have got 2 or 3 players in there that we're really excited about. And then same as we did last year, we started the process early and we identified the 3 we were going to offer contracts to pretty early, and then tried getting them out on loans to try and nick a yard, if you like. And obviously Kai went and had an unbelievable loan out of White Hawk. We'll probably, because of the success we've had with that, we'll probably do that with the current 18s of those players we're starting to see move through. We've got their fixtures through now, so we know when we can pair up and when we can go and see them. Like the 16s played against Barnet, it's 18s on Saturday, which was really good because it's around the corner from where we were playing. Me and Tel had a little look over and saw a couple of really exciting young players that are a little bit of interest in already, and then we'll move how we've moved in the past, and hopefully the wheel keeps on moving.
That's great. And the second question related to that. So, do you talk as a first team management group about the difference that Cat 2 Academy might make? Is it realistic in any kind of short to medium term time frame? How significant?
No. That's probably the North Star for the academy at the minute, but it's not a conversation we need to have as a first team management staff. These guys have obviously got to concentrate on the Saturday. The Cat 2 argument would be one for myself and the board to take away and have a look at that. As things stand at the moment, we sit in this unbelievable venue. We would not achieve Cat 2 status with the markings we need to, with the benchmarks we need to hit with the current training ground. Obviously, we're looking at different avenues for the training ground, and it's a long-term project for us to get to Cat 2 where we are budget-wise and where we are facilities-wise at the minute, let alone the players we're bringing through. It's beyond that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Cam, we've got a question right in the far corner, and then we've got a video from Kevin Foster to watch, but I want to get the last question though, and I want to ask, we've got some young supporters here on their summer holidays. If any of you guys have a question for Johnny or Craig, or even both of them, and it doesn't have to be football related, it can be about anything, we'd like to get the last question to a younger supporter. So yeah, firstly, from the gentleman right at the back.
Yeah, name's Lee again, sorry for hogging the mic. A comment for the gentleman over in the corner about the game against a team from 70 miles up the road. Just down here in March, there was a pile of players in the corner, one wearing a number 14 shirt, one wearing a number 19 shirt. The one with the number 19 is still here, and I'm rather we had that one rather than one with number 14, and he knows what it means to win that game and to play for this team in that game. So I'm delighted that of those two, for example, we have that one that's still here. The question is for Johnny. I love the fact, I'm so excited that we have 4 out-and-out strikers. I like writing letters, and I've written to your previous managers about the fact that we haven't had 4 out-and-out strikers, so I'm so excited. But I'm really excited, like really, really. However, creating chances for strikers is a team effort and not just about the 4 of them. So I'd welcome your thoughts as to how you think about and how you prepare and how you generate creating chances throughout the team, 4 to 4 lads up top, whichever combination. And I love the idea, by the way, of playing 2 of them with 1 behind. Brilliant. So how do you think about generating chances for the team as a whole to feed into the lads up top? Thank you.
Well, yeah, obviously it is a team effort to get there. So we look at a variety of ways of attacking. We try and create overloads in certain areas of the pitch in the system that we use at the minute. You know, your left and right centre backs can step in and sometimes start the attack, join the attack. What it does allow is you to have width and pace. So obviously if we are getting into wider areas and we know we've got 2 forwards on the pitch, we have to think about deliveries into the box. We have to. That's what, certainly like your Omars, your Joe Pigots, and people like that, that's what they thrive off of. So if we get the ball into wide areas and there's opportunities to cross, we want crosses to come in. We want our midfielders, especially if there's 3 in there, to have control of the game. We feel that they can contribute with goals, so we encourage the attacking midfielders to go and make the box, join the attack, sometimes go beyond the forwards, but also they need to be able to create as well. So if you look at the goal that we scored here, the second goal against Charlton, where you have a midfielder driving out of midfield and a forward making a little run for a slid pass, that's a great goal as well. And so we have to have a variety of the way that we attack. If the goalkeeper wants to get out of his feet, hit the forward for a flick on, and his mate gets in off the shoulder and he scores, I think we're all happy with that one as well. So, I don't care how the ball goes in the net, as long as they're going in there. And we're working hard, obviously, on the training pitch on in and out of possession. We always say the better you defend, the better you attack. So your bedrock has to be your defensive shape, but we feel that we've got a variety in our attacks. We've got pace out wide. We've got people that can deliver into the box. We've got midfielders who can find a pass. Defenders who can hit diags. So, I'm making it sound really easy, and it's not. But we've got 4 good forwards on the pitch who sometimes they can sniff out a goal on their own as well. So we have to just constantly strive on ways of providing for them. But I want centre halves to score. I think Ryan Johnson can score 5 goals from set pieces. I think Joe Lewis can score goals. John Joe O'Toole, when he plays, should be scoring goals from set pieces as well. So the goals have to come from everywhere. And if we get probably half a dozen more than we did last year, I think that puts us close to where we want to get to.
Thank you. Any of our younger fans want to ask the last question of the evening? Any of them? They will show. You don't have to ask about football. You can ask about Craig's shotgun, or the fact he can't open bottles of water. No. Johnny and his deadlifting. No one wants a question. Last question, right at the back. Go on, Cam. Run. Go. Last question, then we'll be hearing from Kevin Foster, women's team manager.
Not a younger fan, sorry.
Still, it's okay.
First game of the season, Saturday, pre-match routine, both of you. And I'm not talking your normal stuff. I want your quirks. I want you... What are you doing to really,
Quirks. Well, we normally meet in the coffee shop just down here about 11 o'clock. We have a cup of coffee, don't we? And we like the toasties in there. They're really good if anyone's not
Did
checked
like
them.
the toasties till the new person started.
Oh, the toasties are gone.
Breadies.
So we used to go in there for a toasty, but that looks like it's out. I'll give you one. I might have been spotted by a couple of people, but I'd normally get the train into match days and I'd get out at Earlsfield and I'd jump on a forest bike down, and it costs me £1 because you get 10 minutes free every day. If you didn't know, use the forest bikes, guys, really good. Eco-friendly. And so I'll bike it down, normally meet Terry and Craig in the cafe for a coffee and a toasty. Then the proper work starts. For me, the worst bit, the bit that I hate, is when everyone goes out to warm up and you pretty much just sat there on your own then, and you just sort of waiting for them all to come back in. I get
Racing
a bit low.
Post.
You should come down and see me then.
Sit and read the Racing Post.
I actually have done that before. I actually have had a horse bet to try and kill the time. Not allowed to bet on football. So sometimes I've done a Sudoku.
Battleships.
In that time. Battleships. Just anything to kill that time, really. It's a bit of dead time. Obviously, Terry goes out to warm up. Craig goes upstairs. The boys go out to warm up, and I'm literally on my Todd. It's boring, that bit. I hate it because you're just sort of waiting for the game to start, and pretty much your work's done. All you're thinking about, obviously, the last messages you're going to deliver to the lads. So it's a bit of a funny time for me, that one.
Copy, yours?
Fairly similar. I get up, get ready. I get the line bike down.
Nice.
Not many forest bikes in the village. A bit more expensive, the line bikes. We get the line bike down. We have the toasty and the coffee. Get ready as all the staff come in. We are really boring people. So we come in. We have the chat, don't we? You get ready. You do analysis and that. I'll go up and say hello and schmooze with all the people in the boardroom and say hello to them and all the people down the corridor. And then I will go and sit on my own on the third floor.
What's your half-time snacker choice? On your own on the third floor?
You're not going to believe this, because I don't believe me when I'm going to say this. I don't actually eat during the match.
He's lying. I bought him a flump last year and he got well offended and then he wanted more.
I'm a jealous type.
There you go, Craig Cope and his match day habits. Buy him some sweets if you see him on a match day. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to our brilliant manager, Johnny Jackson, and our head of football operations, Craig Cope.